Well, good afternoon, everyone. Back after a long time on the bench today. We have a Yaesu FT101. This happens to be the double E version. I've been promising you guys I would get back on the FT101 series, but I'll tell you, I just took on so many different projects. It's been hard to get back, working on my own stuff. And I've just been putting it off too much, and I'm getting so many emails over the past year where people have been wanting me to get back on the 101 project. So this 101 comes from a guy that basically gave up on it. He said the radio did transmit, audio was distorted, and the receiver audio was distorted. And he also said there was some problem with the VFO where he would turn the VFO and then all of a sudden it would start moving by itself. And I do feel like kind of a bump in it, especially when I get right about here, and then it seems to want to move on with no problems. Right there, it's very hard to turn, and then as soon as you get off of it, it goes, go ahead and turns freely. So, yeah, I saw it then. And if I zoom in on that, maybe you can get an idea of what I'm saying. You can see it there. The VFO knob is moving right by itself. No, I don't think it's poltergeist. It's just a problem with grease that's in the VFO that has dried up, became hard, and the friction of that grease is making the mechanism in there move by itself, which is trying to pull back when you stretch the grease out. So that should be an easy problem to fix. Just mostly going in there and cleaning everything in the VFO and getting rid of that old grease. But the biggest issue was the receive audio was just terrible. Now I've got the rig connected to an antenna, so we'll turn it on. You can hear a real low static in the background. It's like 20 meters. Is kind of dead today. I'll go ahead and hook the signal generator up to it and we'll listen to it then. Okay, I got the signal generator hooked up. We're on 14.200. At least we're trying to be. You can see the S meter is at about 20/9. And if I turn the receiver up, you can barely hear the signal coming through. But we know that the RF path is working pretty good because we have a real decent signal strength on the meter, unless the meter is just completely out of calibration, but I don't think it's that far off. And you can see, well, the meter is off. You can see if I turn the pre-select, it really came up, but the audio is just terrible. So what we're going to do is, I could plug a external speaker in the back and see if that makes a difference, and I'll do that off camera. And if not, I'll come over here and pull this audio board out and put it on an extender card, and we'll do some checking and see just what we can find. Okay, we're looking here at our functional block diagram for the audio unit, which is PB1315. We can see here our signal from our volume control AF gain, which is VR10, comes in through the wiper up to pin 19 of the audio unit. Into there it goes into Q19, which is a preamplifier, and from there it leaves Q19 and goes into Q8, which is an IC. This is AN214, and it's the AF amp, and that comes in on pin 7. From pin 7 it gets amplified and it goes out pin 1, and it basically goes to pin 22, which goes out to the speaker and the headphone jack. So we'll look at this on the schematic and see if there's anything in here that we need to look at and troubleshoot on. Okay, this is the schematic view of our audio unit, and we can see here it starts at pin 1 on the bottom. It comes over here to pin 19. If we follow this up, we can see we go through a ceramic disc capacitor and into Q9 through the base. The emitter is grounded through a, looks like a 1K. I'm sorry for the quality of this schematic. This is an online schematic. I do have the full service manual book. Sometimes in the presentation it's easier just to use the downloaded version. But we say we go through the base here and we come up through a resistor that goes off to a different circuit. We come here through another ceramic capacitor, another resistor, and then into pin 1. From there we leave, no, excuse me, pin 7. From there we leave through pin 1. There is a electrolytic capacitor, and I think this is a 1UF that is also tied to pin 4. But then we come out and we have a 220 microfarad capacitor, and if we follow on down we see where it goes to pin 22, and that goes out to the speaker and headphone jacks. So this is your audio out. So what we need to do is go in and test on our base and our collector, and we'll see if what we get, and then we'll look at pin 7 input and we'll compare it to pin 1 output and see just what we can find. Okay, I plugged the speaker into the back of it. I made absolutely no change. Sounded the same as it did through the internal speaker. So we're looking here at the back of the audio unit. I have the large extender card plugged in, and if we zoom in on this, you can see Q9 here, and that's emitter collector base, these 3 pins here, and up above that we can see the audio amplifier starting from pin 1 all the way over to pin 9. And what we're going to use to test this with is just a simple old single tracer, and this is the old ICOT 150. It's a solid state unit. I've got it set to audio, and we'll turn the audio gain up, and I'll get this repositioned, and we'll just go ahead and do a little troubleshooting. Okay, so I got the signal coming in. You can hear it very distorted into the internal speaker, and I just got my homemade RF AF probe I think I showed this in one video a while back. But we'll zoom in here. We'll turn the gain up on the single tracer. And we'll come down here and we'll go to the base of Q9. And we hear a good tone in this signal tracer. So let's go to the collector. Same thing, good tone. So we'll follow on up to pin 7 of the audio amplifier. And no problem with that. So we'll come on over to pin 1 and listen to it. And as you can see, from pin 7, which is a good clean tone, to pin 1 output, it is distorted. So either our audio amplifier IC is bad, but let's look at the schematic again and we can see just exactly what could be causing this issue. So that we know everything is good, going to pin 7, which is the input of our audio amplifier. We look here on pin 1 again and we see C37 and C44, which goes out to pin 22. So maybe just by chance, we know how capacitors can go bad. So let's take a look at these two electrolytic capacitors here and just see if that is a problem. Okay, I have the board back out, and if we take a little zoom in here, we can see our audio amplifier chip here mounted to this heatsink. Well, this is C36 and C44. So we're thinking probably one of these may be causing the issue with the distorted audio. So I'm going to go ahead and remove those two capacitors and we'll take a look at them. Okay, so we got both of the caps out. C44 is 220 microfarad at 16 volts, and C36 is looks like a 1 microfarad at 16 volts. So let's give them a test and see. Okay, I just went back and looked at the schematic. That is C36 is a 10 microfarad at 16 volts. So we'll give these a test and just see what they look like. We'll check C44 first, which is 220. And we're showing about 265.2 with an ESR of 0.12 ohms. And we'll check C36. .8 microfarad with an ESR of 1.39. Now, both caps do not really look that bad. C36 does have a bit of a high ESR, but we'll go ahead and just replace those and see what we get. Okay, well, since those two capacitors do not seem to be the culprit, what I want to do is isolate the output from the rest of the circuit. Now here we see the anti-trip circuit. There's a resistor here, I think it's R43, that we can remove one leg and that will isolate it from the anti-trip circuit. There's also one ceramic maybe a ceramic disc capacitor, C37, that we can isolate, and that's the only other thing going out through the speaker. Now you're probably wondering, okay, well how about there's something on the speaker circuit that's causing the problem? Well, we'll check for that, but first I want to isolate the anti-trip circuit and this other capacitor just to see if it makes a difference. Okay, that resistor sort of over here, I removed the leg of it, and I removed this other capacitor here. So that would take anything else out of line. So we'll turn the unit on. And as you can see, we still have distorted audio. So we'll listen to it on the single tracer. And it is still distorted. So what this tells me is that our audio amplifier is most likely the problem. Now this amplifier, it produces about 3 watts of audio, and the heatsink on these are, you know, they're not that little, but still these things get hot, so it's probably taking something out inside this amplifier. So what I want to do now is just verify that everything on the output is okay. I did this earlier off camera, but just so that you will also see, pin 22 is our output, which is going to be our last pin, and the next 2 pins, 21 and 20, are ground. So we'll have a look at our multimeter here, if I can get the glare off of it. And I'll go from pin 22 to ground. And we're seeing 8.3 ohms, which is exactly what we should be seeing since there's a speaker in the radio and it's an 8 ohm speaker. So we know for sure that is the problem, is the audio amplifier has gone bad on us. Now what I'm going to do, I have another board, and just to show you that that's going to fix the problem, we're going to stick another board in here. Now the reason I didn't do this to begin with, if I would have just grabbed the board and stuck it in there and say, yep, AF unit is the problem, no one would learn anything, because doesn't everybody have a whole stack of FT101 boards to play around with? We'll turn the unit on. Sounds like a good signal to me. Back to AM. I'm transmitting AM. Sorry about the loud tone, but this is real radio repair. So the audio sounds completely fine. And as I was hoping it wasn't going to be, I was really hoping it's going to be a capacitor, but we know that this audio amp is bad. Okay, I removed the old AN214 and installed another used one. I happen to have several used ones that was removed from other units. Some I bought on eBay. It's kind of funny looking at my drawer up there, and I had no AN214s in stock that I knew. But anyway, we got this one installed. Turn the power up. We're on the service monitor. I'm not hearing any noise. I'm going to switch to generate. And have a listen to that. we have receive audio back. Hook it up to an antenna. See what we hear. If anything, depending on how the bands are. The upper side band. A little CW in there. So it looks like our receiver issue is distortion is gone. Sensitivity isn't still where it needs to be. And this S meter is running wild. It's not even adjusting. So we'll have to look at that. Quite a bit of activity up on the 40 meter band. And you can see this VFO is turns right back by itself. Alright, I'm pretty much happy with the way the receiver was working. This S meter though, it's pegged in the wall right now, and even without strong signals, it's just pegging right in the wall. So something is wrong with the meter circuit. Like I say, it won't even adjust, so we'll have to take a look at that also. Okay, I went ahead and removed the low frequency IF board to take a look at this S meter circuit. And I'll show you what I found. You see right here, this is VR2. This is for adjusting the S meter. And it looked real good. There's a ceramic cap here that is actually cracked on the end. It looks like it's shorting to it. There's definitely a little chunk that's taken out of this ceramic cap. But even more interesting, when I bend this back up to where it's supposed to be, there's the leg, and it's broken completely away from the little trimmer resistor. It's not even making contact. So that's why we have no S meter calibration and why it's running so wild. Interesting what you can find. And part of what this is, somebody has installed this and pushed it in with the hands, you know, just taking it and pushing it into the board, and broke that trimmer resistor. Now I'm also looking, and I found something else that was real interesting, and I'll see if I can zoom in on this. It's going to be hard to see. Y'all are probably not going to be able to read this. which I think you can. As you can see right here, AM. That is AM 101 filter. So this rig has a AM receive filter in it instead of a CW filter. Thought it looked kind of funny since there wasn't no tag on it. But yeah, that's a bonus. You can see it right there, AM 101. Went ahead and installed a new trimmer cap. This is a little bit different. This is a sealed unit with a little adjustment on the top. It's 500 ohms. So we'll be able to put that in there and see if we can adjust the S meter. Okay, the voice back reinstalled. Turn the volume up just a little bit. We'll go to generate. And we're about S20. I got it set minus 73 dBm. We'll set this for about S9. And there we go. Our S meter is now working. Okay, we got it back on the antenna. We saw our S meter is working. Young lady speaking about a 7. Not a lot on the 20 meters.
Get the antenna, the higher and up. Just remember this, the higher end the antenna, smaller and what, fellas?
Okay, so our next adventure on this radio is to address this VFO problem. And it just, like I said, it just gets to a point where it's right there, it's very hard to turn. So I'm afraid something that's probably, you know, I was saying before, it was mostly probably the grease that's dried out, but still something don't feel right. It almost feels like there's something that's bent or jamming in there. So I want to clean this radio up anyway, so the best thing to do now is just go ahead and take the front faceplate off, and then we can get to the gearing and see if we can discover what's causing the issue. So everything's off but the mic and carrier control knob, and the reason for that is this is a standard straight blade screwdriver that is used to take this off, and someone has used the wrong tool and not only broken one side of the screw head off, they have broken both sides of the screw head off. So looks like I'm gonna have to end up drilling this one out just to be able to get it off. I always hate it when someone uses the wrong tool, but that's what we find at times when you're working on stuff like this. Well, luckily we were able to get that knob off, and this is what's left of it. The plastic just shattered when I was taking it off. Now, it didn't hurt the back knob or the carrier, that was no problem, but the mic gain knob just come all to pieces. Luckily I do have some spares, so that, you know, no problem. Okay, we got the front cover off, and what I'm going to do now on the other end of this shaft is a coupler. We'll go ahead and take this loose, and I'll pull these two screws out and see if our problem is in this front bearing carrier. Because I mean, this is so tight I cannot even turn it with my fingers hardly. So I'll go ahead and get that done off camera and we'll take a look at it together. So as I thought, sure enough, the problem is inside this front VFO mechanism. And what this is a reduction type gear. And I can turn it and I can feel it. It just wants to stop all of a sudden right there. So that's what the problem is. So what I'm try to do is probably clean this up. I don't know if putting lubricant in it is going to help, or if we're just going to have to tear it apart and see if we can fix it back like it's supposed to be. Alright, I tried lubricating it and cleaning it and lubricating it and trying to flush out anything that's in there, but that did not make any difference. So I can get one of these off a old unit, but one day we might want to run out of them, which I doubt it. But anyway, can we fix this one? Now, as you can see, it's got these little tangs that hold it together. So what I'm going to try to do is pry these up and take this thing apart. Okay, I got them tangs up, and we'll see what we can do with it. I know there's some ball bearings in here, so you don't want to lose those. A little compression spring washer in between it. Yep, a lot of gunk. Okay, that's the center shaft. Just maybe I can work those ball bearings out without losing them. Well, now maybe it won't be so bad. I'll put it inside a little cup. One popped out. Second one. That's the third one. There goes the fourth one. Yeah, you can see. Let me get some light here on the camera so you can see it. Lots of sticky gunk and residue on here. So that's what the problem is. Okay, all the components are cleaned up, and we can just put it all back together and see if it works. Okay, all back together and feels pretty smooth. Now you have to try to get these little tangs even, because that's what holds pressure on the ball bearing, and if it don't get the correct pressure, then it's not going to turn this centerpiece. But yeah, feels real good now. Okay guys, we have fixed the distorted audio, got the VFO all fixed up, when I put it back together, I noticed there was some garble in the audio, and I was going to show you what was causing that, and thought I hit record, but I had to record going, and I reached up and hit pause and started talking. It happens sometimes, but what it was, the rectifier board back here in the back had a bad ground on it, and just by removing the screw, taking it out, cleaning the pins and putting it back in, that solved that problem. So now the audio is just fine. There's a net going on 320.
Making a few code certs today. The name is Jamie, Juliet Alpha, Mike India Echo. Licensed in 1992, and I'm located near Green Bay, Wisconsin.
But it's receiving pretty good. I done checked out all the other bands, and they all seem to be working. Now, also doing this whole test, since we do not know what kind of shape the power amplifier is in, you know, the transmit tubes and the driver tubes has been removed, and I haven't even tested to see if we had any transmit whatsoever, but we'll go ahead and do that right quick just to make sure, and we'll go through that in another video. So let me get some stuff set up here, and we'll just look at this transmitter and see if it's working. Okay, I got the unit into a dummy load. There is no final tubes in it. I do have the driver tube installed. The heater switch is in the on position. We got 14.200 dialed in. And on our spectrum analyzer, I also got 14.200 dialed in. And just to show, all I'm using is just a coupling cable, as you can see, just laying up here by the driver tube, just to pick up to see if there's any RF present. And there we have it. It's about 14.208, which is not bad for being on frequency. We're testing this on AM, so it looks like the exciter is working. We had a set of tubes in it. We might receive some output power. We got to put a set of tubes in the final cage, and I was going to test it out. And anytime you don't know the condition of a transmitter, especially on these 101s, or pretty much any type of transmitter, you need to check things out. And when I flipped the rig over and started looking, I removed the bottom shield. And anyway, let me go ahead and show you what I found. You can see I got this metal shield removed, because there's several things you want to look for before you go pressing the mic button. Trust me. I can see that underneath here there's been this 7-watt resistor has been replaced. This resistor here looks fine. There's another resistor under here, and under here is a molded mica cap. That is actually the coupling cap between the driver and the final stage, and it tested okay. But what really caught my eye, you see this current shunt resistor? This thing is black. So that means that either there was a set of shorted tubes, or something has happened to the bias supply and has burnt this choke up. Now in the past, if you go back and look at some of my other FT101 videos, I showed you how to rewind this resistor, so we'll probably have to do the same with this one. So unfortunately I'm not going to get in that into this video. but we'll make that one for a future video. Anyway, there you go guys, a couple of simple problems solved without too much issue. And again, like I said, you know, I've been putting these 101 videos off for a while, and it's just time to get back into them. I've got 6 or 7 of these rigs that I need to get going. Still, out of my collection, there's 2 of them I'm still missing, and that is the plain 101 and the 101B. I think I have 3 of the double E units, and I have all the other ones but the plain and the B. But I really need to get online and start looking for more rigs to use for parts rigs. Some that's been you know, basically stripped down, because you know, we always needing parts. I thought I had another one of these knobs, but unfortunately the ones I have are for the other controls. This one has a very small hole in it, and I didn't have no more of this brand. I've used them on 2 other rigs I had, so I had to glue this one back together temporary and drill it out and put a new set screw in it. It's okay, it doesn't look the best, but it's working. So we'll, you know, get online and look for some more parts donors, because it's always good to have parts rigs for these. Anyway, hope you enjoyed it. More of these to come in the future. I'm going to try to get back concentrating on what I like to do in the shop than what I have to do. I got 3 or 4 projects for other people that I'm working on, and I'm trying to go ahead and get those finished up here in the near future, and then I can dedicate more time on working on equipment and teaching how I learned back many years ago on how to troubleshoot and repair these old radios. Leave your comments down below. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button, and you can follow me also on Patreon. So until the next video, we'll catch you later. Bye now.